He has committed an ignoratio lente, that is to say, he has understood the words of your proposition, but not the idea. The man was a fool, you see, some poor fool whom you addressed while choking with that chicken bone, and who therefore didn't precisely understand what you were talking about. Throw the ignoratio lente in his teeth, and at once you have him annihilated. If he dares to reply, you can tell him from Lucan, here it is, that speeches are mere anemone verborum, anemone words. The anemone, with great brilliancy, has no smell, or if it begins to bluster, you may be down upon him with insomnia jovis, reveries of Jupiter, a phrase which Silius Italicus, see here, applies to thoughts of pompous and inflated. This will be short and cut him to the heart. He can do nothing but roll over and die. Will you be kind enough to write? In Greek, we must have something pretty from Demosthenes, or for example, of Aner fugon kai palin makestai. There is a tolerably good translation of it in Hudibras. For he that flies may fight again, of which he can never do that's slain. In a Blackwood article, nothing makes so fine a show as your Greek. The very letters have an air of profundity about them. Only observe, madam, the astute look of that epsilon. That phi ought to certainly be a bishop. Was there ever a smarter fellow than that Omicron? Just twig that tau. In short, there's nothing like Greek for genuine sensation paper. In the present case, your application is the most obvious thing in the world. Rap out the sentence with a huge oath, and by way of ultimatum, at the good-for-nothing dunderheaded villain who couldn't understand your plain English, in relation to the chicken bone, he'll take the hint and be off. He may depend upon it. These were all the instructions Mr. B could afford me upon the topic in the question, but I felt they would be entirely sufficient. I was at length able to write a genuine Blackwood article, and determined to do it forthwith. In taking leave of me, Mr. B made a proposition for the purchase of the paper when written, but as he could offer me only 50 guineas a sheet, I thought it better to let our society have it than sacrifice it for so paltry a sum. Notwithstanding this niggardly spirit, however, the gentleman showed his consideration for me in all other respects, and indeed treated me with the greatest civility. His parting words made a deep impression upon my heart, and I hope I shall always remember them with gratitude. My dear Miss Zenobia, he said, with the tears still stood in his eyes, is there anything else I can do to promote the success of your laudable undertaking? Let me reflect. It's just possible that you may not be able, so soon as convenient, to get yourself drowned, or choked with a chicken bone, or hung, or bitten by but stay, Now, let me think of it. There are a couple of very excellent bulldogs in the yard. Fine fellows, I assure you. Savage and all that. They're just a thing for your money. They'll have you eaten up, auriculas and all, in less than 5 minutes. Here's my watch. And then only think of the sensations. Here, I say, Tom, Peter, Dick, you villain, let out those. As I was in really a great hurry and not a moment to spare, I was reluctantly forced to expedite my departure, and accordingly took leave at once, somewhat more abruptly, I admit, than strict courtesy would have otherwise allowed. It was my primary object upon quitting Mr. Blackwood to get into some immediate difficulty, pursuant to his advice, and with this view I spent the greater part of the day in wandering about Edinburgh, seeking for desperate adventures adequate to the intensity of my feelings and adapted to the vast character of the article I intended to write. In this excursion I was attended by one Negro servant, Pompey, and my little lapdog, Diana, whom I brought with me from Philadelphia. It was not, however, until late in the afternoon that I fully succeeded in my arduous undertaking. An important event that happened of which followed the following Blackwood article, and the tone heterogeneous is the subject and result.